and Irrigation in its report on the vetting of the nominee for the appointment of chairperson of the Kenya Fish Marketing Authority laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 12 April 2023, and pursuant to the provisions of the Section 201, subsection 1A and 2 of the Fisheries Management and Development Act 2016, and Section 8(1) of the Public Appointments Act of 2011, this House approves the appointment of the Honorable Martin Otieno Okindo as the chairperson of the Kenya Fish and Marketing Authority. Madam Speaker, on 14th March 2023, His Excellency the President nominated and notified this House, the National Assembly, the nomination of the Honorable Martin Otieno Okindo as the chairperson of Kenya Fish and Marketing Authority. Madam Speaker, on the same, after some few days, the Honorable Speaker of this House, via his communication on 16th March 2023, conveyed to the House the message from the President and subsequently referred the name of the nominee and the curriculum vitae to the committee to conduct their approval hearing. Honorable Speaker, in compliance with the Article 118, subsection B of our Constitution and Section 6 of the Public Appointment, that's the Parliamentary Act, number 33 of 2011, the Clerk of the National Assembly placed the advertisement in the print media on 23rd March 2023, informing the public of the nomination, the date, the time, and the place for the approval hearing. Madam Speaker, the Clerk also invited the public to submit the memoranda by a way of written statement on oath on the suitability of the nominee in conformity with Section 6, subsection 9 of the Public Appointment, that's Parliamentary Act number 33 of 2011. At the close of submission, Madam Speaker, the committee had not received any memoranda contesting the nominee suitability. Honorable Speaker, the Clerk of the National Assembly also wrote to the Kenya Revenue Authority, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, the Higher Education Loans Board, the Office of Registrar of Political Parties, the leadership and integrity. Madam Speaker, during the approval hearing, the committee also paid a due regard to the procedure used to arrive at the nominee, any constitutional or statutory requirement relating to the office in question, and the suitability of the nominee for the appointment proposed, having regard to whether the nominee abilities to 2013. The nominee was an accountant in the Ministry of Local Government between 1999 and 2007. He was also an accountant of the Londro Motors Limited between 1996 and 97, and in the Office of the President between 1992 and 1997. That the nominee, in accordance with the Article 78, subsection 1 and 2 of our Constitution, is eligible for an appointment of a state office, since he is a Kenyan citizen born on December 28, 1966 in Homa Bay County, and does not hold dual citizenship. Madam Speaker, the nominee meets the requirements of Chapter 6 of our Constitution on leadership and integrity, having obtained the clearance from the EACC, the KRA, the DCI, ORPP, and also HELP. That the nominee has never been dismissed from office under Article 75 of our Constitution on conflict of interest, so that is Article 75(1), under Article 76, 77, and 78 of our Constitution. Madam Speaker, that the nominee demonstrated the knowledge of the typical administrative and technical issues touching on the office of the chairperson as the requisite abilities, his qualification and experience to serve as the chairperson for Kenya Fish and Marketing Authority. That there was no memoranda received contesting his nomination and suitability for his appointment. Honorable Speaker, after considering the suitability, the capacity, the integrity of the nominee, and pursuant to Section 8(2) of the Public Appointment, that's Parliamentary Approval, Act 2011, number 33 of 2011, the committee recommends that the National Assembly approves the nomination of the Honorable Martin Otieno Ogindo for the appointment of the chairperson, Fish Marketing Authority. Madam Speaker, the Honorable nominee, the Honorable Martin Otieno Ogindo. Madam Speaker, like I said, he appeared before us. He demonstrated a lot of knowledge, despite the fact that he's an accountant, he's a finance person by profession, Madam Speaker. He demonstrated his managerial skills and also his abilities to be nominated as a chairperson of Kenya Fish Marketing Authority. Madam Speaker, the honorable member, Mr. Ogindo, we even asked him a question that how is he going to handle the position or the works of the position which he's been appointed, yet he is a finance person. And the nominee, Madam Speaker, said that he culturally and traditionally he eats fish, and he was born and brought up in areas where fish and fish farming is the whole business or the business throughout his life. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Ogindo served in this House between 2007 to 2013, and he was also the chairman of the Budget and Appropriation. Madam Speaker, I was saying the Honorable Ogindo served as a member of parliament for Rangwe, and not only a member of parliament in this House between 2007 and 2013, but also as the chairperson of the Budget and Appropriation Committee. Madam Speaker, the Fish Marketing Authority under the Ministry of Blue Economy is very, very important, Madam Speaker, because, Madam Speaker, the blue economy is a new thing in the new economies, and Madam Speaker, there is a lot in this new sector. It requires, Madam Speaker, that we have this chair to be in a position immediately so that they are able to make sure it markets the marketing of our fish, especially in the areas of Lake Victoria, the Indian auction, Madam Speaker, is fast-tracked. Madam Speaker, the blue economy sector in many countries, in other countries, is contributing big to over 60% of the GDPs. It's only that in Kenya, Madam Speaker, that we have not exploited the blue economy space in our country. We are, as a committee, Madam Speaker, we believe that upon approval of this honorable member, as the chairperson of this very important department, Madam Speaker, he is going to move, together with other stakeholders, to move our blue economy space, Madam Speaker, into the greater heights of exploration. Madam Speaker, as we speak, our fish in Lake Victoria, I got a communication this morning from farmers in Kisumu. Last evening, they have lost millions of money because of a mysterious threat of fish in Lake Victoria, Madam Speaker. And the faster we approve this chair, is going to team up together with other stakeholders to check as to what really happened in Lake Victoria. It's not the first time. Last year, the farmers also, they lost a lot of fish. We want to find out what is happening. Madam Speaker, there is a lot of illegal fishing in Indian Ocean. Together with other stakeholders, together with the ministry, the chairperson, they are going to team up to make sure that the illegal fishing, the regulations which are under consideration in this House, Madam Speaker, are also fast-tracked to make sure that the fish farmers in this country, Madam Speaker, benefit from their economic activity of fishing. So, Madam Speaker, I want to seek members of this House that they consider the Honorable Martin Otieno Ogindo on this appointment. And Madam Speaker, I now want to beg that I move this motion and ask the House to adopt this report, Madam Speaker, and ask my very able Vice Chair, the Honorable Marwa Gitayama, to second. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Asante sana, Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, asante sana kwa nafasi nzuri hii ambaye ni nafasi ya kipekee kuafiki mswada huu ambao umeelezwa nyumba hii kwa namna ya ufasaha kabisa na kiongozi wa kamati ya maji ambaye vile vile inaangalia mambo ya unyunyizaji wa maji, vile vile pia inaangalia mambo ambayo yanahusiana na ukulima wa chini ya bahari na ndani ya bahari ikiwemo fuo zake na bahari. Na vile vile pia, Mheshimiwa Spika, kamati hii inaangazia mambo ambayo yanahusiana na uchumi samawati. Mheshimiwa Spika, niseme kwamba mhusika ambaye ni Mheshimiwa Martin Otieno Ogindo ambaye alikuja mbele ya kamati hii, na kwa ruhusa yako Mheshimiwa Spika, kamati hii iliweza kukaa naye ikizingatia sheria za nchi, ikizingatia na sheria ambazo zimetungwa na bunge, ikizingatia yale yote ambaye ni ya muhimu ya kwamba akaweze kuonekana kwamba anaweza akafaa katika nafasi hiyo ambaye ameteuliwa na Mheshimiwa Rais, ili akaweze kuisukuma nchi hii na sana sana upande huu wa uchumi samawati. Mheshimiwa Spika, tulimhoji, amekuja mbele yetu, amependeza katika mazungumzo yake, tofauti na kwamba ni mtu amesoma na masomo yake sio masomo ya juu, ni masomo ambaye yamefikia kabisa kelele chake. Tumeweza kama kamati tuliweza kujitosheleza na maelezo aliyotoa Mheshimiwa Martin Ogindo na ufahamu wake wa mambo ambayo yanahusiana na uchumi samawati, mambo yanayohusiana na uvuvi, mambo yanayohusiana na sheria zote ambazo yeye mwenyewe angefikiria pamoja na zile ambazo zimependekezwa kwamba zingeweza kusaidia sekta hii iweze kutoa ajira, iweze kuhakikisha kwamba nchi hii imeweza kupata rasilimali na uchumi ambao umekomaa, ambao ni uchumi mpya kwa mambo ambayo yanahusiana na uchumi samawati. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, tulisadiki maelezo yake. Na vile vile pia Mheshimiwa Spika, ikumbukwe kwamba Martin Otieno Ogindo ambaye ni mwenyeji na mkazi wa Homa Bay Na Mheshimiwa Spika, nichukue nafasi hii pia kumpongeza kwa sababu naye vile vile ni shemeji yangu. Ni vizuri niseme hilo kwa sababu naye ni shemeji yangu, kwamba ameweza ni kweli Mheshimiwa Spika, nimeoa katika kaunti hiyo ya Homa Bay. Kwa hiyo nasema kwamba ameweza kusimamia watu wa maeneo hayo, kuonyesha kwamba anaweza kufanya kazi hiyo, kwa sababu watu wa eneo hilo kwa wingi shughuli zao wanajishughulisha na mambo ya samaki, mambo ya uvuvi, mambo ya kilimo cha samaki ambacho sasa hivi kimekuwa ni kilimo ambacho ni kipya na kimeendelea kupatia nchi hii fedha nyingi na kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba watoto wetu wanasoma na kwamba nchi inaendelea mbele. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nasema kwamba tumemwangalia vizuri na ikapendeza pia wananchi wa Kenya, kwa sababu tulipopeana nafasi kwamba bunge hili lipeana nafasi kwamba mtu yoyote ambaye ana swali lolote au ana shauku yoyote kumhusu Mheshimiwa Ogindo ajitokeze, hapakuwepo Mheshimiwa Spika mtu yoyote ambaye alijitokeza. Hiyo inaonyesha wazi kwamba hata nchi nzima inakubaliana naye, na tumpongeze katika uteuzi huu. Tuseme Mheshimiwa Rais alimchagua mtu ambaye ana uwezo na tajriba ya kuweza kuendesha eneo hili kwa namna ambaye itaweza kufanya nchi hii kaweze kuwa ya kutamaniwa na nchi zingine. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, naomba niachie hapo nikisema kwamba mimi kama alivyosema chairman wangu, yani mwenyekiti wa kamati hii, ninaafiki na kuomba bunge hili kwamba liweze kuunga mswada huu mkono na tukaweze kumpitisha huyu bwana Mheshimiwa Martin Ogindo Otieno akaweze kuendesha sekta hii iliyo mpya, ili nayo ikaweze kutupatia ajira watoto wetu na kuweza kuendeleza chumi za jamii nyingi katika nchi hii, maeneo ya Pwani, maeneo ya Turukana, maeneo ya Kisumu na maeneo yote ambaye yana hiyo zawadi ambayo Mwenyezi Mungu alitupatia ya maeneo ya maji ambayo yanaweza kutupatia rasilimali na kutuendeleza kama jamii. Mheshimiwa Spika, ninaafiki na ninakushukuru kwa nafasi hii. Asante sana.
Thank you. I now propose a motion that, taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation in its report on the vetting of a nominee for the appointment as the chairperson of the Kenya Fish Marketing Authority, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 12 April 2023, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 201(1)(a) and 2 of the Fisheries Management and Development Act 2016 and Section 8(1) of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011, this House approves the appointment of the Honorable Martin Otieno Ogindo as the chairperson of the Kenya Fish Marketing Authority. Member for Baringo.
Thank you.
Member for Baringo County, Honorable Florence Jematia.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I concur that my brother also comes from Baringo. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity, and I want to concur with Chair of Committee of Blue Economy that Honorable Ogindo, as a chairperson of Kenya Fish Marketing Authority, is the rightful chair and given as per the presidential appointment to be the right to head this parastatal or authority. Madam Speaker, this is a government that has considered development as the key agenda. And the new authority that deals with fish, and especially matters to do with water and the blue economy, is something that is being considered in the in this century that as one of the main key development of the world. Madam Speaker, if you realize that the world today depends on something like irrigation or irrigating fish, there are many ways of doing and marketing and growing fish as one of the key economical agenda. And we thank the President for considering Honorable Gindo and giving him the opportunity to serve Kenyans. Honorable Gindo is one person who has proven to be a loyal, hardworking, and a very able leader of this country. He was once a member, an elected member, I think he was a senator or National Assembly, I think. And we are very much aware that he was able to lead his people, and given this opportunity as the President has given him, we want to concur and congratulate him as he takes up his position. I support and I say thank you.
Thank you, Member for Baringo. Member for Emurua Dikir, not in the House. Member for Nyeri Town, Honorable Maina Madenge.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support. And Honorable Speaker, this brew economy is one of the new areas of growth for our country. And the potential, besides the established areas like the coast and the lake region, and even in places like Lake Naivasha, which are much more nearer home to you, the potential is very big. And therefore, it behoves us as a Parliament to support this industry, and especially the appointment of people who will bring in value addition to where we are. It is imperative that this also holds the potential for new employment opportunities for our young people, which is one of the areas that we know as a country we are struggling to come to terms with. And therefore, Madam Speaker, the kind of experience and knowledge that this appointment comes and brings to the board is of immense benefit. So, Madam Speaker, I support.
Thank you. Member for Malindi.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipatia fursa hii. Ninaposimama hapa Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka niunge mkono yale maneno ambayo mwenyekiti wetu ameweza kuzungumza. Mimi niko katika kamati ya uchumi samawati na maji, na huyu ndugu yetu Martin Otieno alipokuja katika interview tuliweza kumchunguza Mheshimiwa Spika, tumempekua Mheshimiwa Spika, tukampiga misasa na kuhakikisha ya kwamba ameambatana ama amefata zile sheria na kanuni za kuweza kuandikwa kazi katika Kenya hii. Mheshimiwa Spika, kama vile mwanakiti wetu alivyozungumza, Martin kazi yake inajizungumzia yeye mwenyewe. Amekuwa ni director katika Agriculture Development Corporation, amekuwa ni mshauri kwa gavana wa Nairobi mwaka 2016, amekuwa ni mbunge wa Rangwe constituency. Kwa hivyo ni mtu ambaye ako na uzoefu wa kazi za umma. Mheshimiwa Spika, Mheshimiwa ndugu yetu Martin ako na ujuzi, ako na taaluma katika masuala katika sekta ya umma. Katika mahojiano yetu Mheshimiwa Spika, ndugu yetu Martin alituhakikishia ya kwamba atafanya kazi na washikadau wote ili kuhakikisha kwamba hii sekta ya uchumi samawati imeweza kuinuka. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi kama kiongozi wa kutoka Pwani namkaribisha kwa mikono miwili na tunampatia baraka zetu, na naomba viongozi wenzangu pia tuweze kuungana, kwa sababu uchumi samawati Mheshimiwa Spika ndio ni mambo ambayo yanaongelelewa katika dunia hii hivi sasa. Mimi kama mtu kutoka Pwani tunataka, kwa sababu kule Pwani kwetu Mheshimiwa Spika tuko na samaki wengi ambao mpaka leo hii hawajajulikana market yake hapa ndani ya Kenya katika bara la Afrika na katika nchi nzima. Na ndio maana ndugu yangu huyu mimi ninapomkaribisha nataka tufanye kazi pamoja, kwa sababu kule pwani kuna samaki ambao wanaitwa red snapper. Kilo moja ya red snapper, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni shilingi 500. Kuna samaki kama prawns. Kilo moja ya prawns, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni shilingi 1200. Kuna samaki, kuna octopus, tuko na tuna, tuko na lobsters, ambao wote samaki hawa, Mheshimiwa Spika, wako na bei nzuri, na tunaweza sisi tukafanya mauzo mema ili kuweza kuinua uchumi wa Kenya yetu. Na ni wakati sisi kama Wakenya, Mheshimiwa Spika, tuanze kuzungumza kuhusu masuala ya samaki. Samaki wanatusaidia sisi, samaki wanasaidia afya yetu. Na kwa wale ambao hawajui, kuna huyu samaki ambao anaitwa pweza. Nafikiria wengi wenu mnamjua. Kwa wale ambao hawajui muhimu wa pweza, munifate baada ya bunge niwaambie maana ya pweza ni nini. Ndio maana anasema umuhimu wa samaki tuweze kuzingatia katika Kenya hii. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Sijui pweza tumle mzima ama tunywe supu. The member for Molo, Honorable Kuria Kimani.
I thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think the Honorable Member for Malindi should have been given more time to explain to us the importance of that fish called pweza. But I rise, Madam Speaker, to support this particular nominee, a former member of Parliament, a distinguished, educated gentleman of this country who holds a Master of Science in Finance, who is a learned fellow with a master's, with CPA, a really educated and experienced gentleman to lead the Kenya Fish Marketing Authority. He's going to come to lead the Kenya Fishing Marketing Authority at a time when discussions across the world are now going under the discussion of blue economy. And talking about how do we make sure that we exploit our water bodies, our oceans, our rivers and our lakes to make maximum benefit, economic benefit to the people, to the country, but at the same time make it sustainable. And Madam Speaker, one of the questions I've always asked myself is that when you go along the coastal towns, and especially even in our country, whether you go to Mombasa, whether you go to Malindi, whether you go to Lamu, despite the heavy investment or the great returns that we get from this maritime and this, for example, fish in our oceans, do the local communities along those areas actually get to benefit? Because what you end up seeing is very good establishments, whether it is the best hotels around Wasini Island, or whether it is the most exclusive resorts in Malindi or in Lamu. But when you go to the local communities surrounding those establishments, you find that they live in very bad poverty. You find very many social ills, such as drug abuse, such as sexual abuse, along these particular communities or towns. So I think it's also a challenge that we have to think as a country, even as we go towards blue economy and going to exploit all these oceans for the maximum benefit of the country and of the world. How do we make sure that the communities that have over the years stayed along our coastlines, the communities that protect the prawns and all those fish that cost a lot of money are actually also taken care of and taken along? Honorable Speaker, the Kenya Kwanza administration, it has an agenda of building dams and water ponds across the country. And I think, for example, my constituency is going to hold one of the largest dams in the country, Itare Dam. But this discussion this afternoon, I'm thinking that perhaps we should make it mandatory that even as we do those dams, that we have fish farming as a mandatory component of these contracts that we are doing for these dam constructions, so that we don't just benefit from the water that we collect from these dams, but we are also able to grow our own fish. And you know, I've always held the thinking that one of the most cheapest things to produce is, for example, fish. Because once now you get the fingerlings, you put them into the water, and they have their whole, and you plant that ecosystem in terms of what they eat. You plant those plants. Then you don't need to take care of them anymore. So I think that it is time that even as we do the dams, and we do these water plants, that we make sure that we include a fish component in them, so that from the onset we're doing the construction, when that water is coming there, we know that we not just benefit from the water that we're going to collect from those dams or from those water plants, but also get to have the benefit of doing fish farming in them. Madam Speaker, again, the issue of blue economy is very special in strategic sustainable development goals number 14 about the sustainability of our oceans. So it's really to thank the Committee on Blue Economy for this vetting exercise. Wish the Honorable Martin Otieno Ogindo the best. And also, that reminds me, Madam Speaker, there was, I think, a question or a statement that was sought this week, I think, by the Honorable Atandi about fish coming from China and how that fish becomes cheaper than our local fish. And these are some of the conversations we must begin to ask ourselves as a country. Like how fish can be grown in China and come all the way to Kenya and become more expensive than fish that we're harvesting from whether it is our Indian Ocean here or from Lake Victoria. And I'm really keen to listen to the answer that this committee is going to give to the question that was asked, I think, by the Honorable Watandi, how fish can become cheaper in having come all the way from China than our own fish here in Kenya. In those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I want to endorse the nomination of one Honorable Martin Atiende Ogindo as a chairperson for the Kenya Fish Marketing Authority. Thank you.
Thank you, Member for Molo. Member for Kericho County.
Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand to support the appointment of Honorable Martin Otieno Ogindo as the chairperson of the Kenya Fish Marketing Authority. Madam Speaker, I don't know much of him, but from what the members have said and from reading about him, is best placed for this position. Fish is very important for us as a country. Fish being a protein is good, and especially now that we have so many cases of lifestyle diseases, and we are going for the white meat, that is fish and maybe poultry. And for that, I want to believe this appointee will make sure that we have so much fish in the ponds. And I also believe when it comes to marketing of our fish, he will do that so that we don't import, but we do more of export. Madam Speaker, we have our waters. We have the Lake Victoria. There has been a challenge in terms of the boundaries, which we don't have. Fish cannot know where is the boundary, so that our Kenyan fish, the fish that are actually in Kenya, they swim all the way to Tsed and to Uchi. But we really want to have more in Kenya. But now, and I want to believe this person will consider having our fishermen also having the necessary equipment so that much of our fish will be able to have them. And Madam Speaker, we will also want to have the fishing waters in the lakes. We have the Lake Turkana, we have Lake Naivasha, among the many others. Let's have it as a serious economic activity that will not only earn people and money for their use, but I also believe we can earn foreign exchange from the same. So for Honorable Martin, I would want him to bring all the skills. Looking at his name, I also believe he must have done fishing when he was very young. And indeed, he should be having skills on how to improve on the same, so that we would want to see this activity move from being a basic to the next level. And Madam Speaker, we have issues of sexual harassment and sexual issues even in the fishing. We had the other day in the fishing industry. I believe with the coming in of Honorable Martin, things will have to be looked into and things will change. And maybe to add on that, Madam Speaker, we have many of our youth who are not employed. This industry will employ many of them. We are not only looking for the white-collar jobs, but we are looking for other ways to have our youth, not only youth, our people in Kenya to be employed. And therefore, this industry will actually be one of the areas that will employ our people. So with this, I want to believe Honorable Martin Otieno will turn things to the right direction. I am supporting his nomination. And thank you, Madam Speaker.
Asante, mbunge wa Matuga.
Asante sana Madam Speaker. Kwanza nitoe shukurani kwa Madam Speaker kunipatia fursa hii adimu sana. Na pili niweze kuzungumzia kwanza juu ya anayezungumziwa leo Bwana Martin Ogindo akiwa mwenyekiti wa halmashauri ya ukuzaji na usambazaji na uzaji wa samaki. Mheshimiwa Speaker, mimi nilikuwa kwa ile kamati ambayo iliweza kuzungumza na yeye na tukaona ni mtu ambaye ana tajriba inayofaa. Ukiangalia masomo yake sio ya kubahatisha. Martin Ogindo ni mtu ambaye alisomea zile shule ambazo zinatajika hapa Kenya, mojawapo ikiwa ni Alliance High School ambayo yeye alipitia. Kwa hivyo moja kwa moja tunaona kwamba ni mtu sio kama wale labda ungeanza kubahatisha makaratasi yake na kuangalia kuyapiga msasa mara 2-3, lakini moja kwa moja ulikuwa unajua ni mtu ambaye anazungumza, anafanya, anatenda, ana uadilifu kulingana hata na ule msingi ambao alikuwa nao kutoka akiwa shule ya upili. Martin Ogindo pia katika ile taaluma yake ambayo ukiangalia ni uhasibu, inafaa sana katika sehemu hii, ofisi hii ambayo ameweza kuteuliwa, na ni mtu kulingana na masuala tuliyoweza kumtahini kuona kwamba ataweza kuleta ufahamu na mbinu mpya mbadala ambazo zitaweza kukuza sekta hii ya samaki. Ningetaka nizungumzie kwa kina kidogo juu ya samaki. Ni jambo ambalo limeweza kuregesha nchi nyuma kutoka tupate uhuru, kwamba tukizungumzia samaki mara nyingi tunaangalia upande ule wa Ziwa Victoria. Tukijua kwamba Ziwa Victoria tumemiliki 6% peke yake ya ile ziwa, na kwa hali yoyote hatuwezi kuwa na samaki wa kutosha wa kutumia hapa nchini na hatimaye kuweza kupeleka nchi za ughaibuni. Pia baada ya hapo tukaweza kuwa na wizara ya samaki, lakini la kuhuzunisha Madam Speaker ni kwamba badala ya kuweza kuboresha samaki ambao hawana gharama yoyote ambao wako katika bahari ya Hindi, ambako tuko na zaidi ya karibu kilomita 600 na kwenda ndani kama sikosei zaidi ya kilomita zingine 200. Samaki hawa ni bure, hawalishwi, hawana gharama, hawapatiwi dawa, hawapatiwi chakula. Lakini la kuhuzunisha ni kwamba wizara ya samaki ilipobuniwa ikawa inaanza kuchimba vidimbwi ambao ni gharama, kuambia watu kununua chakula wa samaki ndio walishe waweze kuuza, ili hali kuna samaki ambao unahitaji ndoana ama mtumbwi ama boti ile ya kisasa uweze kupata samaki kwa bure bilashi na kuweza kutumia na kuuza. Samaki hawa kwa sababu serikali iliyopita haikuweza kuitilia nguvu, imeishia kwamba ndio wanaovuliwa na Wachina kama tulivyosikia hapa, na baadaye tunauziwa sisi ikiwa ni rasilimali yetu. Kwa hivyo ni tamaa yangu, ni maoni yangu na matumaini katika Bwana Martin Ogindo ambaye anapatiwa nafasi hii sasa kuweza kuangazia hasa maeneo ya pwani ambao tuna samaki ambao hawana gharama yoyote. Sioni ikiwa tutakuwa tunatumia fedha vizuri za nchi za mwananchi kugharamia kukuza samaki, na ili hali tuna samaki tayari ambao wako Mwenyezi Mungu ambao ametubariki katika nchi hii yetu ya Kenya. Tusisahau samaki hawa ambao wako maeneo ya baharini, pia mbali na kuwa ni chakula, kuna samaki ambao ni dawa na inaweza kutusaidia sana nchi hii, hasa wazee ambao wako katika bunge na wengineo. Ukiangalia samaki kama vile pweza, samaki kama vile ngisi, ninajua kwamba watu wengi wanapoweza kuja maeneo ya pwani hutafuta supu ya pweza na supu ya ngisi kwa sababu ni dawa na ni bure. Badala ya kuwa tuanze kununua madawa gali ambayo mara nyingi unasikia labda kuna mtu ameweza kuuzimia, amepoteza maisha yake, akiangaliwa askari wakija wanakuta kulikuwa na vidonge pale sijui vina rangi ya blue. Hakuna hata historia ambayo ishawahi kuzungumziwa kwamba ambaye amepata tiba ya supu ya ngisi ama supu ya pweza kwamba ameweza kuzimia na kupoteza maisha yake. Kwa hivyo ni wakati ambapo natumai Bwana Martin Ogindo, kwa sababu pia tulipokuwa tunamtahini tulimuuliza kama anajua tiba kama hizi za kiasili za bure ambazo hazina madhara yoyote, na akakubali kwamba anazifahamu. Basi katika kukuza, sio tu kwa sababu ya kupeleka nje, lakini kwanza kuweza kufanya utafiti zaidi ya kuona ni vipi samaki kama hawa wanaweza kuwekwa katika mitambo, wakaweza kuhifadhiwa na wakaweza kusambazwa kila mahali, na wale walio na matatizo madaktari wetu wakaweza kuyafanyia utafiti na kuona hata kama labda mbali na kunywa supu, kama itakuwa ni tembe, lakini ziwe ambazo hazina madhara yoyote. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, katika swala zima la samaki tuko na uchumi ambao ungeweza kusaidia nchi hii ikiwa serikali ambayo na imani kwa kuteua Martin Ogindo ameweza kugundua hilo, wataweza kutilia mkazo maeneo ya pwani. Moja kwa moja litaweza kuleta ajira, litaweza kuleta fedha, litaweza kuleta fedha za kigeni, na hasa upande wa utafiti wa hizi tiba zitaweza kusaidia zaidi. Mheshimiwa Spika, nashukuru na ninapongeza na kuunga mkono nafasi ya wenyekiti aweze bunge hili kumpatia Bwana Martin Ogindo. Asante.
Wale ambao walikuwa wafuate Mheshimiwa wa Malindi sasa watajua ugonjwa ni gani kulingana na Mheshimiwa Tandaza. MP for Sotik, Honorable Francis Sigei, not in the house. We will have the nominated member, Dorothy Kiara.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I too stand to support this nominee to be the chairman, Kenya Fish Marketing Authority, Martin Otieno Ogindo. Madam Speaker, I am a member of Water, Sanitation, Irrigation, Fisheries and Blue Economy. Madam Speaker, the nominee was presented to us after His Excellency forwarded his name to this House for consideration. I want to state today here, this nominee, Martin Otieno Ogindo, is highly qualified for this job. He has a master's in science, finance option. He has worked with the Agriculture Corporation. He has also worked as an advisor to the Governor Nairobi. He too has been a member of this Honorable House as a member of Parliament. Madam Speaker, on top of all that, he has the mastery of the sector that he has been proposed or nominated to be in charge. Madam Speaker, he comes from the Lake Region, and we do not have any doubts in our mind that this is the person who is best placed for this position. Madam Speaker, as we speak today, the blue economy is more or less a new sector of the economy of this country. And I know His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, is very passionate about it. And as we speak today, Madam Speaker, it's important to know that when this nominee was before us, he was even able to tell us the different types of fish that are found in Lake Victoria and the different type of fish which are also found in the oceans. It's important also to note that he is ready for work, because as we speak, the government has put up very many landing sites. These are sites where when fish is collected, they'll be taken for processing, and so that we can also be in the front line of importing our fish to other countries for export, Madam Speaker, sorry. Madam Speaker, Mr. Ogindo has traversed this country, and as at now, he knows all these landing sites. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I want to support the chair of Blue Economy and say, Mr. Ogindo Otieno Martin is very suitable for this position. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Member for West Mugirango, Honorable Stephen Mogaka.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to also add my voice to the recommendation that Honorable Martin Ogindo is best suited to head this very potentially lucrative fish exporting authority. I say so particularly because blue economy is the future, and it is the growing economy that this country must take advantage of to make our citizens make profits, grow their assets, and also create employment. I, in particular, celebrate that Honorable Martin Ogindo, comes from a fish-growing community. So organically, he has all knowledge about fish from the time the eggs are hatched until we have fish on our supper or lunch plate. And therefore, he has both local and academic knowledge about fish, fish farming, and fish marketing. Knowing that Honorable Martin is also a business graduate, leaves no doubt, therefore, that this is a candidate who knows the waters that he is going to navigate. I am particularly keen about this appointment because from the lake region where my constituency of West Mugirango lies, we have natural rain throughout the year. And we have a lot of wetlands which so far are not economically exploited to the benefit of the locals, because our communities have turned to growing trees on wetlands. And with this appointment and assurance of a fish market, then it behooves upon us, particularly those of us who come from the lake basin, the rain belt, to encourage our farmers, our fish farmers, to create ponds that will grow and farm fresh fish that will hit the market and make money alternative from farming. I say so, Madam Speaker, knowing that arable farming or tea farming and cash crop farming from the region where I come from has become a bit frustrating. Because as I speak, fertilizer prices or cost of fertilizer has suddenly been deducted from tea farmers, leaving them with no income in this month of Easter. And therefore, I want to encourage my farmers to consider fish farming as an alternative. And now that we are assured of a professional head of the marketing agency of fish, I am sure that Kenya will be one of those countries that will be producing and selling fish to the world market. And I therefore encourage even our Ministry of Foreign Affairs to consider having serious trade attaches in our missions who understand that fish is now a new crop that is, or a new export that is likely to be available from Kenya, so that the countries where we have missions, we want trade officers in those regions to assist Honorable Martin in selling Kenya fish to the countries that they have been deputed to represent Kenya. And above all, fish, Madam Speaker, is white meat. And medics and nutritionists are advising that some of us, as we grow older, should avoid red meat. And therefore, the alternative is fish, which therefore also guarantees local market for fish, besides the medicinal value that the coastal parliamentarians have advised us. Since I'm going to committee meeting in Mombasa, I will sure try and test that soup to see whether when I come back itakuwa sawa. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support this motion.
Thank you. Member for Wajir North, Honorable Ibrahim.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I read the report, and it brings two perspectives to the fore: the credibility, competence, qualifications of members of parliament, both present and former members of parliament, and fishery as a livelihood. Madam Speaker, outside this house, members of parliament have been depicted as people who are illiterate, not competent as such to hold any public office. Today, I'm impressed. In front of us, we are approving a former member of parliament who is well educated. We are no longer illiterate as perceived. Some even see us not only illiterate, they see members of parliament as innumerate, that they can't even count 1, 2, 3. That's why we earned funny names, funny tags in the name of MPs, that we are undeserving of any remuneration, salary befitting our status, Madam Speaker. I'm impressed. The appointment of Hon Martin Otieno Ogindo proves that members of parliament are up to the task and are well educated to deliver services to citizens of this country. The second thing, Madam Speaker, is on Kenya Fisheries Authority. That is a very important livelihood cutting across the country, the breadth and length of this country. And it is important it gets all the facilitations necessary to make sure that it is operationalized. I envy, on a positive note, Madam Speaker, that Kenya Camels Authority is not being debated, in as much as it is the livelihood of over 4 million Kenyans in 70% of our landmass. However, this is a very important sector. I'm sure we are yet to exploit our capacity in terms of production and exploiting fishing. Madam Speaker, I'm impressed that honorable member is qualified and conforms to the required statutes of our law. So there is nothing much to bespeak or nothing much to discuss on his credibility in terms of qualification. He's so competent, I do accept. Mine is how much are we into fishing and making sure that we support that livelihood at the communities that depend on it. I know there are various species of fishes that are very expensive and yet unexploited. There is this type of fish they call trout in Mount Kenya, I'm made to understand it's only the royal family that normally come over and do fish and export it to their motherland. A very expensive type of fish. There is a fish farm in Sagana, the same fish. They call it trout, a very expensive fish. It is time, I think, we protect our aquatic system. We are complaining that China is flooding our country with the import of fishes. It may be the same fish that have been fished out from our shoreline. It's about our capacity. Do Kenyans own ships? That is the question. Do we send so that we can reap the requisite? Honorable Martin Otieno. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Member for Wajir North. Member for Emuhaya.
Honorable Speaker, having gone through the report, Martin Otieno qualifies to take over the position that he's being vetted for or has been vetted for. But I would quickly want to draw, Honorable Speaker, your attention to the situation within the fish industry and the tasks that await Oduor, because this is an area that has been very, very sentimental and very important to the people living around the lake and the people on the coastal line of Kenya, while at the same time fish farming has now propagated itself into the interior. And that's why the government at one point, by every sub-county, every constituency, would create farming in this country. It is coming into this position at a time when on Lake Victoria, the Luangni beach has been removed, and now there's promotion of the Dunga beach on the lake. He's coming to this office at a time when the deep sea fishing on the Indian Ocean is no longer there, and we cannot pride ourselves in getting the high quality level fish from the ocean which we can export to other countries. And therefore, he should be ready as he takes over this job to deal with all these things, including and not limited to marketing of fish on both Lake Victoria and the Indian Ocean. Honorable Speaker, where we see the real fishermen not getting the real value money for what they do, because the middlemen, especially who are simply waiting to carry the fish away, are actually reaping more from the fish that is gotten from the lakes in this country, especially Lake Victoria, than the fishermen themselves. We should see him get ready to prepare to make sure that the shilling earned from fishing benefits the fishermen themselves and the mamas who are involved in the trade of fish within and along the lake. Also, at the same point, there has been a lot of harassment. Before you get the fish, Otieno is going to face now spread countrywide. That the increased fish consumption within the country, given that many people are now drifting away from the red meat and white meat, which fish is part of, is very popular. He must be able to promote the fish farming and rivers and also the ocean, but it can also be practiced within the countryside through the ponds, which were developed by government. Most of them are now lying as dangerous ponds. This is what he should be involved in. Marketing of fish, I think I've spoken on that. I also want to say that Otieno must be very ready to deal with modernization of our fishing industry so that people can pride in fishing as an industry the way it used to be. And that's the pride that we want him to bring to this country and within this industry. Honorable Speaker, the invasion, in fact, I stopped eating fish completely because I could not separate or differentiate between the Chinese fish and the fish from the Lake Victoria. This is a matter that this officer must deal with so that we completely stop the importation of fish from China, which has demoralized many of the fish farmers, demoralized many of the fishermen on the lake, and demoralized many of the fish eaters like myself, so that we are assured that the fish we are eating is not fish from China, because the fish from China, as it comes here, Honorable Speaker,